you are not free. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning. You choose when to get out of bed. You choose what to eat. You choose what clothes to wear. You choose what music to listen to. You choose who to talk to. You choose what to do with your life. It feels like freedom. But what if almost none of those choices were truly yours? What if the person you call you is simply the result of thousands of things you never chose? Your parents, your culture, your childhood, your fears, your desires, your memories, your biology, and the opinions of people you may never even meet. You believe you are choosing, but perhaps you are only responding. And this leads to one of the oldest and most disturbing questions in philosophy. Are we actually free? Think about the last decision you made. Maybe you chose to watch this video. Why? You might say, because I wanted to. But where did that want come from? Perhaps you saw a philosophical video before. Perhaps you enjoy thinking about deep questions. Perhaps the title made you curious. Perhaps you are bored. Perhaps you're lying in bed right now with nothing else to do. But did you choose to have that curiosity? Did you choose your personality? Did you choose your childhood? Did you choose the experiences that shape the way you think? You didn't. And yet, those things influence almost every decision you make. You didn't choose the language you speak. You didn't choose the country you were born in. You didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose your genes. You didn't choose your earliest memories. You didn't choose the things that frightened you as a child. And you certainly didn't choose the brain with which you make every decision. So here's the strange paradox. You make decisions, but you didn't choose the person who makes them. Imagine two children. One grows up surrounded by love, security, and encouragement. The other grows up surrounded by fear, violence, and rejection. Years later, they become completely different people. One trusts others, the other doesn't. One is confident, the other is constantly afraid. One believes the world is safe, the other believes the world is dangerous. Now ask yourself, did they simply choose to become this way? Not entirely. Their environments helped shape them. Their experiences shaped their brains. Their brains shaped their thoughts, and their thoughts shaped their decisions. This doesn't mean that human beings have no control whatsoever, but it does suggest something uncomfortable. Our freedom may be much smaller than we imagine. The philosopher David Hume argued that human actions are connected to causes. You have desires. Those desires influence your decisions, and those desires themselves have causes. You want money because you learned that money provides security. You want love because human beings evolved to seek connection. You fear rejection because your experiences taught you that rejection hurts. You want success because society taught you what success looks like. So when you say, I chose this because I wanted it, philosophy asks, why did you want it? And then, why did you want the thing that made you want it? Keep asking why long enough, and eventually you reach something you didn't consciously choose. But perhaps there's another possibility. Maybe freedom doesn't mean having no causes. Maybe freedom means being able to understand those causes. This is where another philosophical idea becomes interesting. Imagine you're driving a car. If you don't know where the road leads, you might believe you're free because you can turn the steering wheel. But if someone secretly controls the road, your freedom is limited. Now imagine discovering the map. You understand the roads. You understand the destination. You understand why you're going where you're going. You still can't control everything. But now, you can make better decisions. Perhaps human freedom works the same way. Maybe we become freer when we understand ourselves. When you recognize your fears, you can question them. When you recognize your habits, you can change them. When you recognize society's expectations, you can decide whether to accept them. When you recognize your desires, you can ask whether they actually belong to you. And this may be the most important kind of freedom. Not freedom from every cause, but freedom through awareness. Think about social media. You open your phone for 5 minutes. One video becomes another. One notification becomes another. One recommendation becomes another. Suddenly an hour has disappeared. You might say, I chose to watch those videos. Technically, yes. But how much of that choice was really yours? The algorithm learned what keeps your attention. It showed you more of it. Your brain responded, and you continued. The system didn't need to force you. It only needed to understand you. And that's something worth remembering. You don't always need to be controlled physically to be controlled psychologically. Your desires can become your chains. And this happens far beyond technology. People spend years chasing careers they don't actually love. Why? Because they were taught that success means money. People stay in relationships that make them unhappy. Why? Because they're afraid of being alone. People hide their opinions. Why? Because they're afraid of being rejected. People spend their lives trying to impress strangers. Why? Because somewhere along the way, they learned that approval equals worth. And perhaps the saddest form of imprisonment is not knowing that you're imprisoned. But here's where philosophy becomes beautiful. If you have never questioned your desires, you may simply follow them. If you never question your fears, they may control you. If you never question society, society may choose your life for you. But the moment you stop and ask, why? Something changes. Why do I want this? Why am I afraid of that? Why do I need their approval? Why am I chasing this? Why do I believe this? Why am I living this way? That question creates distance between you and your impulses. And in that distance, there may be freedom. Perhaps we will never know whether humans possess absolute free will. Philosophers have argued about it for centuries. Some believe every event is determined by previous causes. Others believe humans possess genuine freedom. And others believe the answer lies somewhere between the two. Maybe the truth is something we haven't completely understood yet. But there is one thing you can do regardless of which side is correct. You can become more aware of yourself. Because even if you cannot control everything, you can learn to recognize what is controlling you. Your habits, your fears, your desires, your environment, your need for approval, your anger, your past. And once you see them, you don't have to obey them blindly. So perhaps the question isn't, am I completely free? Perhaps the better question is, how much of my life am I actually choosing? Because you may not have chosen where you started. You may not have chosen your past. You may not have chosen your personality. You may not have chosen the world you were born into. But maybe you can still choose what you do with the awareness you have today. And maybe that's enough, because freedom was never about controlling everything. Perhaps freedom is simply the ability to look at yourself honestly, to recognize the forces shaping you, and then ask, do I really want to continue this way? So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, before reaching for your phone, before following your routine, before becoming the person the world expects you to be, stop for a moment and ask yourself one question. Is this my choice? Or merely a choice I learned to make? Because the moment you begin asking that question, you may discover something frightening. You may not be as free as you thought, but you may also discover something beautiful. You might be freer than you ever realized.